Oh my god, the bunny hill for babies?
That is quite the incredible outfit. You weren't kidding, this place is kind of a maze. Yeah, I should probably touch a crystal here. Hold on a minute. I wasn't thinking about it when I passed there. I got distracted by the poo-poo. As you do. There's not behind these coven doors for a worldly type like you, missus. We're the dutiful sisters o' the Edelweiss. All pure and saintly, like. Now bugger off. I like how you can't even go into the rogue area without being a rogue. Or I'm guessing that's what it is. Hang about. Ain't you that lass as goes by the name of Petra? Yeah, I knew it. We like to snilch all the rising talent, and from what I hear, you're on head and shoulders above the rest. If you can handle yourself half as well as they say, you might well be of use to us. Ah, forget all that sisters o' the Elderweiss bollocks. That's just a bit of fun to fob off the curious calls. We're a guild of rogues, lass, and it's mainly our marks as does the praying. Me and mine work in the shadows of Limsa, taking a keen edge to the rocks and cacklers what have earned themselves a millin'. You don't tout for members, but every now and again we might offer a promising young cove a place in the ranks. If you've an interest in joining us, tip us your daddles. Now I feel like I've heard that before, but not in the same context. And we'll put a hilt in each one, just like the gods intended. So what do you say? Fancy learning a new trade? Better believe it. Good to see you're keen, but I should probably warn you on a few points before you dive in. Where most guilds take pride in turning their members into the best bloody candlestick makers they can be, we only care about getting the job done. And the job ain't pretty. You become one of us, and you'll soon be neck deep in scum and knife fights. So if you're looking to scamper across rooftops and bilk dandies o' their blunt, you'd best take up you with a different crew. Think on that, and come back if you're still keen. Alright, I'll think about it. Alright, I thought about it. I didn't scare you off then, Ben. They told me ye was a meddlesome lass, and it's proved. You'll need every ounce of that metal soon enough. Now step inside and have a prattle with Jackie. He's our upright man, the master of the guild. Let me in. You looking to head inside? This woman just throwing knives over here, you know? Classic. How bad. This is your whole guild? I think you do need some new members. I'm the one they call Jackie. Well, I'm surprised you've heard of me. Perhaps you'd be good enough to tell me your name, along with the kindly cove has told you mine. Ah, the famous Petra. Old Lonnie Leftpatch let you in, did he? He can't throw a blade for shite. But that one eye don't miss naught when it comes to sizing up a dimber mort for the stallin'. Just one thing. You ain't a pirate, are ye? Oh no, my hat gave me away. Well then, it's time ye was stalled to be to the rogue. Pull on your best beater cases, and I'll swear ye in meself when you're ready. Now, I could fill your waddles with the storied history of our guild, but that's just wids and wind. The most important thing, the only thing we care about, is getting the job done. Now, most folk, and I am assuming you're among them, know that not long after Limbs was found, the city was overrun by a motley collection of pirates and thieves. But as wild as the lot were, it soon became clear that they'd all end up killing each other if they didn't lay down a few rules, an unspoken code of conduct, as it were. 1. You don't bite the purses of your fellow Laminsons. 2. You don't rook a crew out of their spoils. And 3. You don't trade calls like there was chattel. I'll admit the finer points of the code are a mite murky, but most agree on those 3 at least. I want to start using the term mite murky. Now, you might be thinking none of that amounts to a sack of dillberries now the Admiral's outlawed piracy, but in the back alleys and black markets where Meryl's grip ain't so tight, the code's still alive and well. And just as the law is enforced by the Yellow Jackets, the code is regulated by us rogues. We go where the shadows are darkest and hand out justice to them as break the code. Some rum-soaked cove steals goods from the wrong call, and we steal them back. That's the job, my natty lass. Of course, we don't hop the twig when blade work's called for neither. Y'all see there's more to our dagger play than just sticking calls with the pointy end. We'll weaken a mark with poison, fade away and strike in the darkmans, whatever it takes to get the work done. Well, Petra, what do you say to that? Got the guts to do a rogue's job? Do you have the guts to do a rogue's job? I like how the game asks me, do you though? Alright then, first off, we'll have to get your kit sorted out. A rogue needs to be light on her dew beaters to stay on a mark's trail. The job might be fighting across a deck or weaving through a mob, and the last thing ye want is a bleeding great battle axe what hooks itself on every rope and post. That's why we stick to daggers. They let you slip through the streets just as easily as they slip through a rook's ribs. Here, take these stabbers and let's see how they look on ye. Just don't get so excited with your new toys that you forget the dress for the role. You'd be surprised how many cults come back to me in their bloody small clothes. Changing classes, gear sets will allow you to register and save your equipment. You may then use them to switch between classes instantly without the need to manually equip weapons or equip equipment. Your main weapon determines your current class. Changing classes is as easy as equipping a different type of weapon or tool in your main hand slot. When playing more than one class or job, gear sets allow you to say, yeah, you just told me that. Perfect. Ready to go. So actually, I might have to go get some all-class stuff. The sauce.
It is.
Because yeah, my starting gear is in my thing, so. And I haven't taken any non-Disciple of War stuff yet. Why are thieves not Disciples of War? What are they? I do have a hat. So we're in. Where does it say? Oh, level. Oh, the level's different. Got it. I was confused at first. I was like, why? So they do have separate levels for class. I like that a lot. I really like that a lot. 11 did the same thing, and I liked it. You have changed to a new battle class. To lessen the burden of leveling multiple Disciple of War and Magic classes, an experience point bonus known as the Armory bonus is added when slaying enemies and participating in fates. This bonus grows larger the greater the discrepancy between your current level and the level of your highest class. That's really cool. So grinding other classes is quicker just by default. So let's see if I can buy some poop armor from somewhere. If not, we can just go boldly forth and level up slightly before talking to him again. Surely there's got to be some cheap equipment up here in the market. How's it going, Blaze Home? It's fairly normal for Limsa. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm gonna go tag this crystal too. As long as I have one in Limsa, I'm not that worried. Okay, let's see here. It's all jeweler. Ooh, retainer. Yeah, I figured. Perfect. I'll take pot helm. Oh shoot, these are still too high level. These are level 5. There's a 1. He doesn't have level 1 boots and stuff, though. Good lord. I want that scythe! Get this up. Yeah, I was thinking either market board or the other over here. I put my level 1 gear in my dresser. So I can't wear it now. I can only pick one. I need female. Oh, it says I have these, but I don't actually have them. What are you doing, bro, Thivin? What do you mean 14K? What are we doing out here? Frickin' market boy. Trying to scam me. Guys, it's fine. I'm gonna level up super fast. As soon as I figure out how to get out of here. Are we here? Yeah, I'm just gonna go. I got armor, so I'm just gonna go level me up real fast. I kind of wanna check out the enemies. Like, this kind of works really nice because I was gonna say, like, oh, I'm gonna leave this area and like just one-shot everything because the enemies around here are gonna be level 1 because you can start here. But since I'm going rogue, funny joke, I'll be level 1, so I can kind of experience the enemies around here at level 1, which is kind of cool. Hey, good to see you, Doom. I forget, do I have to touch these two or not? I think I do, don't I? Yeah. Fisherman's Bottom, a great name. Seems I've made a mistake. I think I'm supposed to get on the boat. Costa del Sol? Wait, where do I want to go, though? I don't know. Not missed. Confused. Where? Head east from the main crystal, okay. Boom. This way. There we go, now I got a map. Bum 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 bum. Gotta put my hat on. Very important. Oh, perfect. Gaming. Okay, so how does this work? Do I get... So I don't even get my abilities or anything. So at the risk of sounding like an idiot, what's the point of going multiple class if I can't use any of my pugilist stuff? So, I mean, is everything I did as a pugilist just by the wayside now? Okay. I don't really... Yeah, that kind of sucks. Like, I liked how 11 did it, where, like, there was actually a reason to level both. Like, I agree with you guys that, like, multi-classing is probably too much, but at least to get like passive effects or something, it would be cool. Do I get my... Well, no, because these are different per... Like, both are... What you call it? Disciples of War, so these are just the same. Yeah, no, I don't think it should be like you have to level up multiple classes, but you should get some kind of benefit from leveling multiple classes. I mean, maybe not. It's more just a personal preference, but like I like getting rewarded for trying new things. So like if I'm 100% sure that I want to play Rogue, I should be able to just play Rogue and get all my Rogue abilities and be good to go. But if I want to try Culinarian, I should be able to like go up 20 levels in Culinarian and give it a shot, and then go back to Rogue and get some like random Culinarian ability. Like now I'm a Rogue that can cook soup, like, you know what I mean? Which is what 11 did, where like you could use half. If you were a level 30 Rogue, you could use other class abilities up to level 15. So you could kind of build like a multi-class thing. But you weren't like useless not having another class either. Like you were totally fine just going one class. This way you're just kind of stuck with like whatever your main is. And you're not really rewarded for trying new things, other than just having them available on the fly if you need a certain class for something. I can definitely see why they implemented a boost benefit now. Because, like, yeah, you get nothing for switching. They removed the feature because people were demanding certain skills to be chosen in order to allow you in a dungeon? What? What are you talking about? What I'm talking about would be better for that issue. So I don't know what you mean. But wouldn't that be worse having it this way? Like, for example, we're doing a raid together, and Viertis is like, do you have taunt? Because we need a taunt. And I was like, I'm a rogue, so no. And then he's just like, all right, then we can't have you. Versus, I'm a rogue, but I have taunt because I leveled Berserker, and now I'm a rogue with taunt, then I'd be allowed in. I don't understand how that's better. Like before, if you were a warrior, you had to also level up a Berserker to get taunt, but in this way, you're just a warrior and that's it. Unless you literally max every class, but there's no reason to because you can only be one class at a time. I mean, I know you can switch on the fly, but like, my point is, most people are just going to stick with their role because you don't get a benefit for leveling up multiple roles in your main role. You know what I mean? Right, but I'm saying, like, that's worse in your scenario. If you need a tank for your raid and I'm a rogue, I'm just not going on your raid. Whereas, you know, if you have multi-classes, then I could maybe have tank abilities on my rogue. If you're like only looking for a tank, then like I'm just out regardless if I'm only leveling my rogue. You know what I mean? What's cool about this scenario is that if you do take the time to level up everything, then you're good. You can go with anyone and do anything. But I would imagine most people, at least at the start, would just level up their favorite role because there's no benefit to leveling up other roles. You don't, like, your rogue doesn't get better by leveling up other roles. So you're probably just going to focus rogue until you're like super post game. You've already completely mastered your rogue and you're like, I just want to try something new. You know what I mean? So in that scenario, if you have a friend that needs a specific class for their raid, you're just out of luck. Whereas, and I'm not saying there should be multi-class abilities, because it seems like that they tried that and it didn't work. But like having some kind of benefit to, like, if I leveled a berserker up to level 30, I get taunt on all my classes no matter what. Then I could go back to rogue and have this taunt, so I could go to my friend's raid and be like, oh yeah, I have taunt. I'm a rogue, but I have taunt. You know what I mean? In this scenario, you gotta basically replay the game 20 times to get all your rolls up to snuff, so that if your friend needs a certain class, you have it ready. And otherwise, you're just not playing that or getting any benefit from it. It'd be, I mean, it would be pretty similar, yeah. Like, you, in my scenario, you'd still have to play a little bit of every role to maybe get like their, whatever their main thing is. But then you could go back to the role you want. If you want to be a rogue, you could be a rogue. Whereas, you know, if your friend needs a tank, now you got to play this class you don't really like because that's what they need. Which is kind of it's a problem either way. I mean, you know, but I just wonder why they couldn't have done what they did in 11. Because I get like the multi-class thing being an issue, but I don't see how you couldn't give my rogue a little bit of a benefit for trying other roles. Because this is actually like basically saying pick your role and stay in it, which I don't like for an MMO. It should be giving me incentive to try new things. And this is the opposite. This is saying, like, pick a role and stick with it, because if you don't, you're back to level 1, and all the work you put in so far is now moot. Until you get to, like, post-game, and you're like, okay, let's just master every role. Right. It feels more of a casual decision to be like, let's just have everyone have their role and not make people have to work with 2 classes. But 11 did it, and I don't think it was... Well, it was a little complicated, but that's because 11's complicated. But, no, it does feel like that's pandering a bit to the casual players, which I don't see a reason to be... I think... Like, because in 11's case, if you were a casual player who did not want to multi-class, you didn't have to. You could just stick with your class and it was fine. But if you went with a multi-class, you could get a couple extra abilities that were outside your class that could make your class a lot more personalized. And that's what I liked. I like the personality you could give it, you know? Like, in this game, all you are is a jack of all trades at the end of the day. You know? But in 11, you could be like, hey, I'm a rogue archer. Or I'm a white mage archer, and no one can take that. No one else is a white mage archer. you're a white mage archer. You know what I mean? Like, you have this very specific thing that you are. Whereas here, you're a rogue. You're a white mage, you're a black mage, you're a red mage. You might be all of those, but you're only one at a time, right? So it's just like a bit more personalized. I feel like your character was a lot more personalized in 11. I could tell people, like, people would ask me, like, what are you? And I was like, what was I? A rogue ninja? What did I start in 11? Because I ended up ninja. What was the name of my regular class? Was it rogue? Or thief? The thief ninja? But I would tell, like, I'm a thief ninja. And then they know exactly kind of what my build is, what I'm doing. It just felt like more personalized. Whereas here, post-game, everyone's everything. So, it's just not as interesting. If a white mage archer was better than a white mage, all white mages would have to be white mage archers. That's not at all what I'm saying. What you're saying is against what the game is, because if you're saying, like, everyone's forced to be the best, then everyone's forced to max everything. That's a moot point. People would demand that others be certain combination. I don't understand why. No, like, that's already a problem anyways. It doesn't matter what the game is. I don't understand why having two classes means people are going to be mad at you for not being a certain class. In 11, you could change your classes. Like what I'm saying is you can be anything you want, but you have a main class and a sub. So, like, you could max every class in the game to 100. You're level 100 everything. But when you go to do the raid, you are a level 100 thief with a level 50 white mage sub. And if your friends say, hey, we need a black mage, you could swap to black mage. But, like, your main class this, subclass this, that is your character. And, like, as you're playing the game, before you get to crazy post-game where everything's just maxed anyways, you have a more personal character that is the two classes that you like, and you could level them both up simultaneously and get abilities from one onto the other, just like with 11. I don't know what MMOs are like, so you don't get it. I think you just don't understand what I'm saying. I've explained it to you twice, and you just keep saying the same thing, that people are going to be mad at you. That's an MMO problem in every MMO ever. That doesn't mean that my version of this would change that. That's just a problem that all MMOs have. That's a problem that many online games have. I don't see how my scenario makes that any different, because you could change to whatever you want. You're just not listening to what I'm saying. You're just stuck with your point. Now, I could understand what was told before, where, like, they used to have multi-class abilities, so it was like you had to be a warrior with a berserker in order to get taunt, and people would get mad at you if you didn't have taunt. Like, that I get. But I'm saying, you can still level up every role to max. Every role still has their own abilities, just like Final Fantasy XI. Every role has their own abilities that you could level up and get whenever you want. But you equip two, and while you have one equipped, you have everything that role has to offer, and then your sub, you get 50% of what that has to offer, or whatever. Or there's specific classes, there's specific things you get, like passive bonuses. So, like, I'm a rogue, but I'm sub ninja, so now I'm a really fast rogue. I'm a rogue, but I get some extra speed because my sub is ninja. Something like that. You know what I mean? Just so there's something to where, because my problem with this is that I am now forced to either start over, I know I get an experience boost, but basically start over everything I've learned up to this point about pugilists, how they play, how they work, how my combos work, etc. I have to throw all that away, and now I'm just a rogue. Level 1 rogue, learn how rogue works. Probably the rest of the game I'll just be rogue. And post-game I can go back to my pugilist. I can go back to other things. I could try other things, but like right now I'm just throwing everything away to do rogue. Well, tell me, like, what am I getting? Because I asked that question. I said, am I basically starting over as a rogue? And everyone said yes. So if they're wrong, tell me. Do I get passive bonuses for being... Because that's not what everyone said before. Everyone said, like, yeah, you're starting over. So there's something you know that we don't. Well, of course, the things I've learned, the game knowledge I've learned is there, but that's not what I'm talking about. Sure, I have game knowledge, but... I mean, I don't think this is a crazy ask, given that Final Fantasy XI did it, to have some kind of passive... Like these roles... I thought that these roles were what it was gonna be, but it's not. They just reset. Like, why not have just these role abilities different for each class? And then, like, I could equip... Like, for example, Second Wind. Let's say Second Wind was a rogue-only ability, or a pugilist-only ability. So now that I've switched to rogue, when I get to level 8, maybe I can equip the pugilist level 8 instead of the rogue level 8. Which maybe the rogue level 8 was something else. You know what I mean? Then I just have something where I can be like, oh, remember back when I did pugilist? Now I have this pugilist ability I can use. Well, from what people were saying earlier, it sounded like it wasn't that. It sounded like it was you have to have specifically a level 30 warrior and a level 15 berserker, and then those things together unlock an ability. Is what it seemed like what they did before that people didn't like. Or was that just kind of the meta of it? Was like a level 15 berserker gets taunt, and so if you were a level 30 anything, they wanted you to also be a level 15 berserker. Okay, that makes more sense. Man, I gotta admit, I don't really agree with removing that. I really don't. And, you know, maybe it's just because I wasn't part of it when it happened and realized how, but like, the argument that alone makes people mad at you when you go on raids with them is stupid to me. I don't think that's the game. I don't think that's the mechanics problem. I think that's the community's problem. And I'm sure that didn't go away when they took that out. I'm sure people still say, you don't have this ability, you're not coming with us. I seriously doubt removing that, like, fixed that problem. That seems bizarre to me, that would be the thing that people would get mad about. Like, I don't see how removing that fixes that. I mean, I've experienced that in other games. I used to experience that in Destiny. And, like, that was never really the game's fault. That was just people's fault. There was no real way to, like, fix it. The problem in Destiny was that you would get a certain weapon from doing a raid, and that weapon would be good for the raid that it's in. And so you'd get this thing where, like, one person would get the raid done and get the weapon, and then that person would not let anyone else like at that point no one was allowed to go with anyone unless they had that weapon, but you needed to finish the raid to get that weapon. So you'd have to find people that had the weapon that would be willing to take you so you could get the weapon so that more people would take you, which was a really annoying gameplay loop. But you know, I wouldn't really blame the game for that. I don't know. I can understand the argument, but I have a bigger issue with the game pigeonholing me into a single role and not giving me any kind of benefit for trying new roles than I do some post-game, oh, people won't take me on their raids. Like, is that fair? I think that I mean, perhaps they just kind of listened to their most dedicated fan base when they were tweaking the game, and that's fair. But I think it's more important for new players to be incentivized to try new roles. If I was designing the game and I had people that, you know, people are coming to me with this issue like, oh, people aren't letting me onto their raids because of these multi-class abilities. And then I had the new audience saying, we have no reason to try any new roles because you're forcing us to just pick one. I feel like that's a more important thing to fix. Because you fix that, and you get more people to even get into the post game in the first place. You don't fix that, and people aren't playing the game to even get to the point where they have an issue with the raids. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's more important to make sure that people are trying new roles. And also, that helps to fix the problem. Because people will try more roles, and then they'll have more abilities to then use on the raids. Like, in my opinion, if you remove the reason to try new roles, then people are just going to go with one role, and then they're going to get to the raids and be like, I only know one role. So I feel like you're actually making the problem worse. If we incentivize people to level up all the roles, then by the time they get to post-game, people are going to be like, we need a tank, and they're going to be like, I gotcha, I leveled a tank. Right? I think removing subclass abilities is just going to make it worse. They're going to have more people that are just kind of one role until they get to post-game, and then they're like, crap, I got to level up a healer because my friends always need a healer. Yeah, but wouldn't it be better to do that during the game rather than get to the end and then have to, all right, here goes my, and I know you get the experience boost, but, you know, now you gotta, oh, my friend, you know, I spent 300 hours mastering my rogue. Now I gotta start over because my friends always want a healer. Whereas you could have been leveling up a white mage rogue this entire time and then had like a sub white mage that can heal. I just think that would be more beginner friendly. Because it sounds like the change they made, they were trying to appeal to the casual market. The casual, you know, newer players. But my argument is I think it's worse for newer players. Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, crap, all that work I put into the pugilist is now moot. Until maybe I get to post-game and I already have a pugilist that's leveled up a little bit. Like, that's basically all I get out of this. Right? All I get out of this is that if I end up mastering Rogue, I now have a little less work to put into Pugilist if I want to master that later. That's all I get. Whereas imagine if, like, I switched to Rogue now and I had one of my Pugilist abilities just chilling. So now I can always have that little ability to kind of give my Rogue a little bit of a Pugilist flair. Make him a little different than all the other Rogues running around. You know what I mean? And like, that's what I loved about 11. Like I said before, it really puts a lot of personality into your character to be able to tell people like, oh, I'm a rogue red mage, you know? And they're like, whoa, that's cool. Like, that's different. Yeah. Instead, you can't really say that. I mean, and if you master all the classes and you can just be anything at any time, then you're kind of just nothing. You're kind of just whatever you are at that moment. Which I see that, like, that's probably the better thing to do in the end game, so that you can just go with anyone and do anything and fulfill any role. Like, that's probably smart. But at least throughout the game, as you're leveling, you could have this nice personalized character that's personalized to yourself as you're playing with friends and leveling up before the crazy post-game where everyone is just God. You could feel a bit more like your own character. I don't know. Makes sense to me. And yeah, I don't know. I really don't buy, and maybe I'm totally wrong, maybe I'm totally off base. That's fine if that's the case. But I really don't buy that it's somehow the game's fault that people won't take you on their raid. Like, that just seems like the MMO experience. I don't know. Like, there's certain things, like, yes, they could have maybe made it a little easier to go on any raid, but I don't know, man. You either have a raid party that will bring you no matter what, or you have a raid party that's looking to try hard. And that's kind of just the way MMOs are, from what I understand. Like, that just seems to be, you either have a crew that, you know, our chances of survival are 5.999, repeating, of course, percent. We're probably all going to die, but we're in this together. Let's do this. Leroy Jenkins. And you all march in and die. Or you have your tryhards that are like, we need you with this ability and you with this ability, you know. And that's just kind of like the way MMOs are. And I don't see how, if you had still the ability to get every class, but for the leveling up, you had to pick a main and a sub, how that would somehow diminish that or fix that. I don't see it. I don't see how that would fix that. It would just make the mid game more fun. It would make the mid game more of a personalized experience. Once you get to post game, everyone's God anyways. You know? So it's whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I think instead of removing subclasses, you just make it so everyone can be everything in the end. I think that's the better solution. Ooh, I already like Rogue. Already liking Rogue. The balance is almost certainly the reason. For what? For which? That's what I'm saying. Everyone can be everything in the end. So why not allow some kind of subclass thing where as you're going through the game on your first playthrough, you can be two things. Because in the end, you can be everything all the time regardless. Unless we're saying, like, having a rogue that can heal himself is too powerful, and you need to just be one specific class all the time. But it sounds like switching between classes is pretty easy. Can't you do it literally in battle? Isn't there a button that changes what you have equipped? No, you have to do it out of battle. Okay. So they would have had to rebalance a bit. But didn't they already have to? Didn't they already have to rebalance the other way when there used to be multi-classes and then they changed it so there's no multi-class? They had to balance everything for that, right? They had to bring everything down a little bit. So, I mean, if they could do it one way, couldn't they do it the other? They turned everything up. Melee-oriented classes such as Gladiator and Marauder can chain together their weapon skills to deal additional damage or inflict additional enfeeblements to their targets. This is known as a combo. Weapon skill can be chained with another. It can be indicated in the weapon skills help text. In the case of Vorpal Thrust, it executes immediately after True Thrust if the potency will be increased. Some weapon skills must be delivered from a specified direction. One weapon skill can be chained into a combo with top rock. I'm just gonna whack stuff for a minute, and then I'll read all my abilities. If you want to play as Rogue, you don't want to be forced into playing other jobs just to make your Rogue complete. See, I disagree. I loved that about 11. I loved the fact that the game forced me to try something new instead of just being like, I'm going to be Rogue forever. That seems un-MMO-ish to me. I feel like an MMO should be challenging you to try new things. Not pigeonholing you into one specific thing. Don't you think? Yeah, I mean, and like the way 11 did it was that you were only half, your subclass was only half the level of your main class. So it's not like you're getting freaking a rogue with flare. You're getting a rogue with fire too, you know? You don't think I'm pigeonholed by spending the first 12 hours of the game playing a pugilist and now all of that work is gone? Because I want to try rogue? Then if I try rogue and then decide I want to be a pugilist, I go back to pugilist and all this effort is useless? You don't think that's being pigeonholed? Like, what I'm doing now is completely useless if I decide, hey, I want to actually be a pugilist. With the exception of, like, some gil I'll get. Yeah, but I should be rewarded for that. That's my argument. I should be rewarded for trying new things. That was the very first thing I said. I should be rewarded for trying new things, because that's what will get people to try it. I'm telling you right now, 75% of people, if they were playing this, and you told them, hey, if you switch to another class, you don't get anything from what you're doing now, they would just not switch classes until post-game when they need to have everything to go on raids. Right? Like, who's going to be trying new classes when they've already put so much work into one? If you get literally nothing out of it. I don't think many people. If you did, that's cool, but I don't think many people would. Maybe that's the case then. Maybe they decided they didn't need to reward you for changing classes because a lot of people were just genuinely interested in trying new ones. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's what they decided. Maybe they looked at it and they were like, you know what? A lot of people are trying new classes even early game, even though we don't give any incentive to do so. What level am I? 5. I should be able to equip my stuff now. Oh no, never mind. Those are all 10. These I can equip. It's 8.